Hello, my Copic and Crafty friends. This month on Copic in the Craft Room, the color of the month is green. So I'm going to do what I started last month. We'll see if we make it through the full year. And then I'm going to show you every green marker in the Copic collection. So I'm going to show you the G0s, the G1s, the G2s, and then it jumps to G4. And it jumps again, G8 and G9, and then one random in the middle that not everyone owns, the G3. But there's only one of them, and you had to be there to get it. Okay, so the G0s, we started this last month with the RVs. If you didn't catch it, there's a video about kind of looking at the color family as a whole, comparing the zeros to the ones to the twos. And when I say zeros, ones, twos, it's the first number on the marker. So a G07 is in reference to that zero that comes right after the G, and that's the saturation number. It's how much gray is in the marker. And I'm doing these, we did them a long time ago on Pinterest and just had photo comparisons, and you can see those. They're still online on Pinterest under Copic in the Craft Room. But if you're interested, I'm redoing all of the color families in video form. We started with RV last month and I'm doing G this month, and the reason I'm doing them in that order is my friend Elena, who owns Violetta Inc. She is a Copic distributor. She does a featured color family each month and does a little discount code for them. So green is the color of the month. There's a little discount code, and I'll kind of link you up at the end of the video so you can get there. And if you mention me, I get a little perk, and that is greatly appreciated. But I will share that at the end, so you got to make it through to the end. All right, so we're going to start with the zeros. There's a bunch. I've got a whole fistful. I've got 8 of them, in fact. I've got a G quadruple zero, triple zero, double zero, and then it goes to a G02, 03, 05, 07, 09. This is the biggest group of the lot. The G's is actually a smaller color family as a whole. There aren't as many greens as some of the other color families. It's pretty narrow. I don't use the G0s a ton, and they're a pretty intense green. So we're going to start with those. And what I'm going to do is we want a direct comparison. So I'm literally going to do kind of one leaf per group, and we'll kind of see how that goes. Hopefully I can fit all of my G0s on one leaf. That is going to be the challenge. Because I'm trying to fit them all together and that close, I am going to start from dark and work to light. That is going to help me control that a little bit. We'll see how it works. All right, G0s. We're going to start with the darkest, G09, which isn't super dark. And do just a touch because we got a lot to go. There's the 09. This is G07. This, to me, the G07 actually is a richer color. It's warmer. G05. G03. I was doing pretty good, but we may run out of space. G02. The one thing about having all of these colors is they tend to be extremely easy to blend together. Now this is the 00, and this is the first one that's not just immediately kind of melting. So G00, hitting that edge. G000, and G quadruple 0. And we are going to add those are the G0s. Taking those to the side. G1s, there are 5 of them. We've got G19, 17, 16, and then a 14 and a 12. So let's do those to the left here. G19 is where it's going to start. Again, it's not necessarily as dark as I would think, with a marker ending in the number 9. The value isn't quite there. Now this is the 17. Now this is one of those ones. Look at what happened. I'm going to do this on one side and not the other. This is the 17. Look at the difference between what I just did with the 17 and what was the 19. The 17 is actually slightly darker than the 19. So that partially explains that. And G17 is actually a really pretty color. Very Kelly green. G16, now we're going lighter again. Now this is definitely a desaturated color. We've grayed this down, we can see that. So that part is accurate from the G0 to the G1s. G14, and now suddenly we're not. This to me, this G14 seems more like either a yellow green or a 0, in that it's a very saturated color, more vivid, definitely more yellow. And then 1, 2 cools back down again. So the G1s are a couple little oddities there. G17 is darker than G19, which it should be the opposite. G14 is that warm tone kind of right in the middle. So got some G1s are a little offbeat. Overall, they are a little bit cooler. It's funny how much that one G14 warms that up though. Next are the G2s. Now on a couple of my G2s, I have the classic or original body. These are ones I literally got when I took my original Copic certification class. Many years ago, they used to give you a little pouch of markers, and these are 2 that I got with that class, and I've never replaced them. I have replaced the nib, so I have a brush, not the super brush, but a short brush nib on both of them. But my G24 and G29 are those different body, and then there's a G8 in between, and a G21 and a G20. That's the group for G2s. And we'll flip this around and get a clover leaf going. Now this is where the 9 value actually does appear to be more like a 9. Definitely darker. And it appears to be fairly accurate, at least to start, with the saturation being grayed. G28, This is extremely dark as well. These two kind of battle each other. So obviously a little bit of an issue with the greens, that those couple darker ones are debatable which is darker than the other. G24 is next, and this is a jump. This is one place I wish they would add a marker, because this is a hard blend. Now, I can tell you what I have done in the past is I pull over a G17 and put it in between the 2-8 and the 2-4. It brightens it up, but it also makes it a little bit easier. This is incredibly unbalanced. A little easier to blend. There we go. G21 is next. Again, not much of a jump there. From 2-4 to the 2-1, and then a jump to 2-0, which goes considerably lighter and is another issue with blending, so we'll work on that. Here we go. It's gonna take a little work, I think. But if I get that nice and wet and then do a little bit of the 2-1, probably will get me a little closer to a actual blend. The 2-0 is incredibly light. There we go. So these are the G2s. Now, sitting here in the center is a marker that not everybody has, only a select few, but there does exist a G30. It was gifted to the people who attended the 30-year anniversary. That's what this guy looks like. You cannot buy them, and when these guys dry up, they are gone. So sorry, but I do want to throw out there that it exists. If you see it, that's what it's from, and that's why you've heard about it or have seen it. You could probably offer someone some ridiculous amount of money to get a set. All right, G4s. So we have the 0, 1, 2, a funny little 3, and then we jump to G4. So this is a G4-6. It's the darkest of the G4. There's only 3, but this is a combo that I actually do pull out, and I use it for grassy hills fairly regularly. I actually think it's a little more realistic than the regular G's for a big grassy hill. So that's the G4-6. Now, I will say that I often will pull in a G2-8 or something darker to push that contrast if I need it. Here is the G4-3. It warms it back up a little bit, which I actually like, but it's still very subtle. It's still very desaturated. There's been a lot of gray added to the G4s. So it really is a pretty combination. And then the last one is a G40. Oh, and I've got a dead marker. Let's see if there's any chance. Sometimes I wonder if I've got a crack in a lid. I'm thinking I do. Okay, pausing. Okay, so this might be a lost cause. I did just find the crack in my lid. Don't know how long that has been there, because I have used the heck out of my G4 group. So my guess is, who knows when it happened, but I re-wetted. This is probably not completely accurate. This is probably more accurate than that. I'll have to see if I can get a new G40, but I'm pretty sure, my eyes aren't super reliable these days, but I'm pretty sure I've got a crack inside one of the lids. Okay, so here are the G4s. I'll leave the 40 out. We'll see if we can't figure that guy out. It may be, even if it isn't a crack, might be a lost cause. G8s are actually next, and there's only two of these guys. We have an 8.5 and an 8.2. They're not very dark. You can already see what's going on here. So I'm going to show you in comparison. Look at the lid in comparison to what this is doing. So the lid is incredibly inaccurate. The number is actually more accurate than the lid itself. An 8.5, this is actually kind of what I'm assuming. It's a mid-tone, being a 5. And so that actually is fairly accurate. The saturation is fairly accurate. It should be extremely grayed down, which this is. But what they've done with the lid is saying that it's a considerably darker color. And then here is the 8.2. It's actually a really pretty color. It is a little bit darker than what its lid looks like, but more accurate than the 8.5. Okay, so there's our 8s, grayed down a little further. And the last group is going to be the G9s. Again, there are two. We have a G99 and a G94. So what you're going to see, I usually need to combine this again with something else. So now look at this lid. Okay, so what are we anticipating? Not quite there, but I guess you could say closer. All right. And G94. So the G9s and the G8s are actually pretty similar. It's funny because the G9s actually have a little bit more yellow to them, which I would think, I'd anticipate it getting even cooler, but that G99 to me looks like it has more yellow to it. There we go. So the greens in all their glory. This is all of them. We have a set of G0s. There's a bunch of them. G1s, G2s, G4, 8, and 9. So there's some distinct differences with this color family. In the lightest tones of the G0s, you get almost minty green, almost on that edge of blue green. The G1s are very kind of Kelly green, what I'd say is like a Kelly green, and then G2s you get a very Clover green, And the G4s to me can work with the G2s pretty well, and overlap that to get some really nice, more nature looking combinations. But to me, the G family, actually, I end up doing a lot of combining and mixing the different groups, like the G2s and the G4s, throwing in a G17 to, brighten it up. So, but this will give you an idea when you're thinking about purchasing more markers, or if you know you'd like another set, I'll get you a little closer, that maybe that will help you make those decisions. The Clover images are ones that actually I created. They are digital images, and you can find them on my blog, scrapweaver.com, or if you type in Copic in the Craft Room, you can get there as well. It will show you the blog or get you the blog address. But these are part of the digital image collection, and they have the two different shapes, kind of the 4-leaf and the 3-leaf clover, and you get those as a little set. Thank you one and all for joining me. May the luck of the Irish be with you this month, as well as have a happy, colorful day.